Hello bronies, it's me, it's Clayton, and we're back to the My Little Pony reviews as I look at Stranger Than Fan Fiction. Now this episode revolves around Rainbow Dash going to a Daring Do convention where she actually meets another pony named Quibblepants, played by stand-up comedian Patton Oswalt. Yes, it's another celebrity guest voiceover, who hates Daring Do about as much as Rainbow Dash likes it. Well, more specifically, he likes the earlier Daring Do books, but not the later ones. So, Rainbow Dash and Quibblepants constantly argue throughout the episode about what makes Daring Do a great character and what makes her adventures good, while simultaneously going along with a Daring Do adventure after they get captured by Dr. Caballeron, if you remember him from Daring Don't. So, this episode actually managed to really intrigue me because it's beyond meta. The arguments of Rainbow Dash and Quibblepants remind me of a lot of arguments between other fan bases, like Gen 1ers in Pokemon versus the guys who actually care about Pokemon generations beyond the first one. Or more recently, Patton Oswalt's character Quibblepants reminds me of an Avatar fanboy who loves The Last Airbender but hates Legend of Korra. Sort of like Josh Scorcher in a way. And especially since Josh Scorcher hates Korra about as much as I like it, and we actually sort of got into an argument about that when we were at BronyCon. Thankfully, we were able to, stop fighting, and we were able to realize that just because we don't like certain things in a similar fashion, it doesn't mean we can't still be friends. And that's actually the message of this episode. Just because you hate something that someone else likes, or vice versa, that doesn't mean you should hate them for it. You can still be friends, and as long as you people are happy, you can just go ahead and enjoy what you enjoy. I wish some people would realize that, and when I like something that's not a lot of people really love, like Korra, or a certain anime that some people hate, like Trigun, I guess, I wish people would be more understanding and they wouldn't just, hate me outright for liking something that they hate. But a good message is only as good as the episode itself, and the episode itself is very fun and fast-paced. Since the majority of the episode is spent on the Daring Do adventure, we get a lot of cool action sequences with Quibble and Rainbow Dash mixed in with some snarky remarks from Quibble. Now, Quibble he initially might seem that it'll get annoying with his constant cynicism in a fashion similar to Linkara or the Nostalgia Critic, but since I'm a fan of that type of humor, Quibble actually came across as pretty funny, and a lot of that has to do with Patton Oswalt's performance. And he actually does manage to pull off a good chemistry between him and Ashley Ball's Rainbow Dash. Even though Rainbow Dash is really the only main six character that appears in this episode, with the exception of a quick Twilight cameo at the beginning. It's really down to Rainbow and Quibble to carry the episode, and thankfully they do. Not only that, but A.K. Yearling, aka Daring Do herself, shows up, and she's a rather enjoyable character, and she remains as the My Little Pony version of Indiana Jones. Another thing that stood out in this episode to me was the animation. We saw a lot of cool animation tricks throughout the episode, and I really do like the design of the temple that reminds me of, like a PG version of most of the Indiana Jones temples. Especially since the convention has obvious cheap knockoffs of those temples that were obviously made by fans of Daring Do. I wonder if Indiana Jones conventions have actually recreated the temples. I'd love to see that. So the voice work's excellent, the animation's good, the story is surprisingly self-aware. So, are there any problems with this episode? Well, if you're not a fan of Quibble's humor, his constant cynicism, and his mean-spirited remarks towards fans of anything he doesn't like, eject now. He's not going to be that funny to you. But if you are a fan of that type of humor, if you're a fan of people like the Nostalgia Critic or Linkara or people of that caliber, you'll find him entertaining from start to finish. I found Dr. Caballeron to be a fairly interesting villain, even though he's basically just a self-aware knockoff of all the Indiana Jones villains rolled into one. Specifically, probably the ones from Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade. And not to mention, I did like the conflicting of opinions near the end, where even though Quibble is clearly obnoxious, he's still a smart guy, and he's still able to come up with really smart plans. And the two sides of the fan bases aren't shown in a negative light. No one's clearly in the right. Both Quibble and Rainbow Dash have legitimate grievances. I was worried that maybe Josh Haber and Mike Vogel would end up demonizing one side while making the other side look like they're in the right. But no, that wasn't the case. Turns out both sides had decent points and both had to work together to get out of the situation. So, if that's a metaphor for anything, I think that's a metaphor for how fan bases should live in harmony, and they shouldn't try to kill each other over something like a TV show or an anime. So yeah, Stranger Than Fanfiction. Great return to form for the series, not a lot of things that are wrong with it, so I'll give it a 9 out of 10. See you guys next time.